Yo, what's up everyone? We got 6 weeks left. I'm back. This one's gonna be a lot quicker. Welcome to 180 to 180 running with Dan, your friend, your guy, your stranger. I'm back again this week. It's gonna be kind of a quick one. Honestly, I am beat from my I'm beat up from my long run yesterday. I meant to record this on Friday. I normally do record these on Friday, but this time just, I don't know. I had so much stress this week, not really trying to give excuses, but a stressful week. Mostly physically, honestly. The training block itself just kind of kicked my butt this week, and thankfully I have a deload week this week. Honestly, I'm not really gonna recap this week. Just want you to know most of the training was good this week. It was very good, but I want to spend this entire video basically talking about the long run yesterday. So yesterday was my biggest workout I've ever done. Not my biggest long run. It was 12 miles, 2.5 miles at steady, and then 6 miles of race pace. So this is like the most taxed I've ever been after a long run. My central nervous system is kind of cooked. I'm gonna be honest. My central nervous system is fully, absolutely cooked. On Monday, I did my workout in the Fadian 5 Ultra. Really good shoe, love it. But it showed me that I don't think this is gonna be my race shoe. I'll use it for 5Ks, 10Ks. It's probably gonna get a lot of workout miles. But when it comes to a race, I don't think I'm gonna use this because it kind of beats up my calves. If I'm doing a longer effort, I definitely need something that's gonna just protect my lower legs. Because of my long run workout, all of the cracks showed. Every crack in my body, in the training so far, in my ability, it's shown through. And honestly, I'm grateful and happy because seeing this halfway through the block is probably the best thing that could happen to you. Halfway through a block, knowing that there are things that you can work on and tweak and practice to get ready for race day. Perfect amount of time to just dial in on the things that you're sloppy on. So I did this race-paced workout in the On Cloud Boom Strike. Likely going to be my race shoe. Warming up for the first, I think it was 3 miles, conversational pace. I was running at about like 14:20, 14:30 pace, which is honestly pretty slow. That's like my daily paces. And that's something that I think attests to how insane this shoe is. Because this shoe, my easy paces are like 13-minute miles, so just blazing fast. So it just really gets you into a rhythm and wants you to go fast and encourages quickness. This shoe does the exact same, but it has a contingency. So if you're landing on the heel, it'll be just kind of like a semi-choppy ride. It's not a bad ride at all if you're landing on the heel, but this shoe is definitely mid-foot to forefoot. And because of that, I think that's why this is going to be my race shoe. Because it feels best when you're up on the mid to forefoot, and that's how I need to be striking if I want to reach these paces, and I found that out on the long run. So let me just kind of walk you through this workout. So first 3 miles, conversational pace, then 2.5 miles at 13 minutes per mile. During the 13 minutes per mile, I started to get up a little bit more on the midfoot, but I was still kind of heel striking at my weight. I think you can heel strike on the shoe up to about 12, maybe 12:20 minutes per mile pace. But if you want to go any faster, which my half marathon pace is 11:26 per mile, if I want to hit sub 30 or even lower. So to actually get to that speed, I need to land up on the forefoot. And there's a very clear distinction, but it's a friendly reminder. It's not choppy, it doesn't punish you if you're landing on your heel. It just encourages you to be up on the forefoot. And that's kind of the flaw of this one. It doesn't punish you for landing on the heel, but if you land on the heel, you'll get boomeranged towards the forefoot. So landing on the heel for this, it might seem like this shoe is kind of slow, but it's not slow at all. But when you start landing on the mid to forefoot, you just get so much response and propulsion. I think it's the plate geometry on this. It has this separated midsole, so you can actually see the plate, and the plate scoops down quite a bit. And with that scoop, I tend to like plates that scoop down. Like before I had this was my favorite shoe, and I actually almost sold this shoe, but I decided against it. And then I brought it in for a workout on Wednesday, and it was fantastic. The difference, however, between the On Cloud Boom Strike and the Tier Valkyrie Elite Carbon is the geometry. The Tier Valkyrie Elite Carbon, I don't know if you could see, but it's pretty flat. So unless you're really on the forefoot, you don't really get the same speed capability. So you really have to land on the forefoot to get the full rock and tilt on this. But with this, as long as you're landing about here, you're getting the full experience. And both of these are PIBA, so probably why I loved this shoe so much and why I love this one now. But yeah, on to the 12 miles. 6 miles of race pace, man. Crazy, 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 crazy. I'm throwing up a picture now because I need to go over a little bit of the preamble of this run. As you can see in the picture, there's something suspicious, a little Nomio. Some of you shoe sickos and mileage watchers on YouTube know about Nomio. And I'm not sponsored by Nomio in any way, shape, or fashion, but I decided to try out Nomio for the first time. And I've heard a lot of people say that Nomio isn't for slower runners, it's for elites, they're gonna get the most use out of it. But truly, I think it actually saved this run from being a complete car crash. 6 miles at half marathon pace is something I've never done before. I've never pushed my body that far. I've never stayed in threshold that long. So it was completely uncharted territory. So my nutrition, as you can see in the video, I had Nomio, I had 2 SIS nootropics, and I had 4 carbs fuel gels. And I also had the shoes, and I had the bang socks from hobbyjogger.com. I woke up at about 4 or 5 a.m. and I took the Nomio, and then I went back to sleep because I don't really do much in the morning and I'd rather get more sleep and get ready for my run. And I think that's also where I made a couple key mistakes before this long run. Number 1, I didn't drink water. Number 2, I didn't drink extra electrolytes. Number 3, I didn't eat before this run. I drank a carb mix before this workout. It was about 70 to 80 grams of carbs. It had good electrolytes, but I didn't have water. So I think I had more than enough salt and potassium and magnesium, you know, the electrolytes, but I just didn't have water. I forgot my water bottle. I didn't have a water bottle in the car. And I realized on my warm-up that I was missing water, which is like so essential for a long run. Like even on race day, I'm going to be trying to get water during the run on the course if possible. So just going in there without water was just a huge misplay. But the fueling was there, and the fueling saved this workout, fully saved this workout. Because now, let me get into the actual working section of this. The moment it hit about 6 miles, I picked up the pace to about 11:15, and I was feeling good, I was feeling confident. 11:15 is the estimated race pace, but I probably should have started off a little more conservative. But I think I just had in the back of my mind the memory of my 6K time trial and how I went out way too conservative and ended up leaving so much on the table. So I didn't want to leave a bunch on the table, but I think I should have started off a little less hot. If I started off at about 11:30 on the first like 2 to 3 miles and then sort of cut down, I think I could have done even better than I did. But still, I think the biggest limiting factor was just dehydration. Man, I'm so not used to this. This is all over the place. Still on fueling. I drank that carb mix about 30 minutes before I started. And then I took a Carbs Fuel 50 2 miles in. About 3 miles in, I took a 40 gram. I took a 40 gram of the SIS nootropics, so that's like 200 milligrams of caffeine and a bunch of other additives. Around 5.2, 5.3, I took another 50 grams of Carbs Fuel gel, and then the working sets started. So I went out at 11:15 and then kind of fluctuated between 11:15 and 11:20 for the first 2 miles. And then 2 miles in, when I was taking my third gel, this was a 50 grams Carbs Fuel gel, I mistakenly split my watch, and at the time I completely forgot there was an update recently, and whenever you split, you actually have the option to cancel a split. So I didn't realize that the cancel option was up there, and so I didn't click it. So I kind of freaked out because, oh my gosh, I just split in the middle of this, and because I split, I'm not going to be able to know if I'm running too slow just by hearing the beep or if I'm running too fast just by hearing the beep. So I quickly stopped, took about 5 to 10 seconds to reset it, and then I got back into the working sets. Heart rate didn't really drop much. It was still at about 170. I think 170 is my threshold. My Koros like max heart rate is probably so off. I put it to 207 just because one day I was running really hard in the summer or something, and my heart rate was about 207. But I think my actual max heart rate is probably the recommended like 191 for somebody my age. So I think my true threshold is actually at like 172 or something like that. And that's where I was hovering for the entire 6 miles. So I went out and continued, and it was going well. I was semi-conservative. I didn't feel taxed. I was just running hard, and it was tough and it was painful, but it was doable. And during the first like 4 miles of the working sets, I was in awe at the Nomio working, because I haven't done 4 miles at 11:15, 11:20 ever before. So the lactate should have been built up like crazy. So I'm gonna have to give it to Nomio for buffering the lactate there. I've put in a lot of training, so that's also part of it, but I truly think that the Nomio held me off from destruction for quite some time. And I say quite some time because there was a moment of destruction about 9 miles in, so about 3 to 4 miles into the 6 working sets. I got a side stitch, and I never get side stitches. That's how I knew something was off. I don't think it was the effort, because the effort felt controlled. It felt doable. It felt like I was gonna do this, and in fact I thought I could actually cut down to about 11 for the pace, because my heart rate was super steady at like 169 between 171. It was super steady around there. But then when the side stitch hit, the wheel started coming off. I've never had to deal with a side stitch on any run ever, so it was just a completely new experience. It was rough, it was painful, and it slowed me down about 20 seconds per mile. So I ended up at like 11:40, 11:37, tried to pick it up. I didn't want to push so hard that the side stitch turned into like a full-blown like seizing of the side of my body. So I tried my best not to overexert, but still try and keep up the pace. And that's what I was saying when I meant that I think this has to be my ratio, is because it's such a clear sign of when my form's falling apart and when my form's on point. If I ever feel myself landing in this area, I'll know it starts to get a little choppy and I don't feel the same propulsion that I should here. So the shoe has like a really friendly reminder when I'm falling apart. So I could tell I was landing more on the mid to heel, and things were starting to get really tough. Even at the start of this entire run, my mouth felt dry and parched, and even to taste, I could tell that I was dehydrated. This run was really good. The weather was perfect. So I know it's just me. I messed up. I didn't prepare enough, and I was just scared. Honestly, I was scared of this run. I didn't prepare properly, and I forgot water. Just the most basic thing of a run like this is water, and I forgot it. So those things happen. Sometimes it happens. So the side stitch came on at around mile 9, and then I battled through it for about 0.7 miles, just struggling, trying to keep the pace up, trying to just work it with my hand, like try and get my knuckle into the stomach a little bit as I was running, just kind of rub it, kind of ease it, release the tension. And after a while, it finally subsided. But then I bonked. And I don't think it was like I missed a gel or I missed a mile for the gel or anything like that. I took another gel. Like right after the side stitch disappeared, I took a gel because I was like, okay, the side stitch is gone. If I take the gel during the side stitch, I might throw up, I might pause, who knows what's gonna happen. So I waited, I took it afterward, still within about 2 miles between each one of these. But then I bonked, and it was a dehydration bonk, and that sucked. Luckily, no cramping, but I just felt like I had nothing in my body. It's like when you drive a car for a super long time and the oil is just, you haven't changed the oil. Things are gonna start rubbing, things are gonna start smelling, things are gonna start getting weak. weird. So my body was just at its limits, fully taxed my central nervous system. I think I kept focusing on the gloves back there, so if it's blurry, it is what it is. But yeah, my central nervous system was taxed to the max. And so the bonk came on, and I've never been in the pain cave like that. I was seeing stars, I was running. The wheels had fully fallen off at this point, but the pace hadn't yet. I pushed on for about 0.5, and then the pace just dropped. I'm talking 12:30, just fully like a whole minute slower, just completely beep, 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 beep. But then I heard a voice. There was a man out there. He was in this green bandit shirt, and he screamed at me, "Hobby jogger." And at first I was like, who are you calling hobby jogger? And then I remembered I was wearing this hat yesterday. And that gave me a second wind. He just reminded me, this is a hobby. I'm doing this because I love doing this. I love running. I'm doing these hard things because I love this. I love the work that I'm putting in. I love the feeling of being in the pain cave and knowing tomorrow I will rest. And if I look back on this moment tomorrow and think I could have done a little bit better, I could have taken one extra step, I'm going to be thinking to myself, you should have. Just why didn't you do it? What's stopping you? You're in the moment now. Why are you thinking about tomorrow? You're here today. So lock in, get back in pace, get back in rhythm, and crush this final 1.5 miles. So I locked in and pushed and pushed and pushed. I knew I couldn't go for a full push yet, but I could slowly get the foot back on the pedal and just press and press and press just enough. The legs were fighting, my mind was fighting, my form was fighting, my body was fighting for these miles. And I had to remember myself, you've already done 9 miles, you've already done 4 miles of race pace. You can do 1 mile. You can do 1.5 miles. You can do 2 miles. I couldn't do the math, so I didn't know how much I had left. but I knew I could do it. So I slowly pressed the gas, pushed and pushed and pushed, and we got to a decent level. I saw myself, though my form was falling apart, I saw myself at around 11:05. I saw myself at about 11:20, 11:30, and then right back to 11:20, and then kind of hovering and going up and down around that area. And so I held and held and held, and then I bonked again. And this time, I didn't know what I was gonna do. I didn't know how I was gonna get through the last mile. But thankfully, I brought one more gel. And gels are such a hack. When you're in the pain cave, a gel can bring you out of darkness. A gel can turn around some of the worst moments of a run. So I took out another carbs fuel gel and I forced it down my gullet and I pushed. And I got through, I got out of it, I got back into it. I didn't feel like the best that I've ever felt, but I felt like I can do 1 more mile. And I pushed and pushed and pushed and got down to the last 400 meters and I went all out. One thing about me is I have a kick. I almost always have a kick. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I can kick no matter. If I know that I have 0.12 or 0.25, I know that I can kick almost every time. And I'm not sure why, because I'll be honest, 10 minutes before the kick, this time, I didn't think I'd have a kick. I didn't think I'd make it to the end. I thought I might fall apart. I thought I might have to stop early before the 6 miles and do like 5.5 or 5.7 and cut it early. But once I get closer to the end, I always have just that little something where I can push it down. And I pushed it down and we hit about 9:50 pace, 9:40, and just flew and succeeded and hit the 6 miles at race pace. And I walked. I walked for the first like 20, 30, maybe a minute after I finished, I just walked. And I knew I still had 0.5 to finish out the run and get back to the car, and I'm supposed to jog it in, but my legs didn't have anything. They did not have a shred of energy left, a shred of power, a shred of even joggability. I don't know if that's a word, but my legs were thrashed. My legs were finished, they were cooked, they were done. And I was just so grateful that I pushed and did everything I could, and I learned so much on this long run workout. 6 miles at half marathon pace will wake you up. It'll help you see all of the cracks, and I have quite a few cracks. Crack number 1, fueling and nutrition. Though I got the fuel down, I'm still not dialed in 100%. I need to get some electrolyte gels to practice. I need to make sure no matter what, I drink at least like 16 fluid ounces of water before the run. During the morning, I don't like to eat food. I'll drink a carb drink, but sometimes I'll forget. I'll drink a carb drink, but I won't drink water. And it's like, you need water. It doesn't matter how much salt you have. It doesn't matter how many carbs you have. If you don't have water, these things aren't going to move through the body properly. So I just have to make sure I get the water, I get the fuel, and I practice being in that pain cave. Because that pain cave was a crucible. Talk about a crucible, a burning learning experience. I learned so much about what it'll be like at the end of my half marathon. I hope when I actually do the race, I'm not in the pain cave for more than 2 miles because I don't know if I could do 3 or 4 or 5 miles of pure pain. I don't really know how to survive in the pain cave, and the pain cave will test your character. It'll build your character, and the only way to get used to it, to understand it, to push through it, is to be in it. And it's a dark place. It's a dark place. And it showed me that my 10K, I didn't push hard enough. My 5Ks, I haven't pushed hard enough. I'm almost tempted to do a hard 5K just to get practice at being in the pain cave, because there's so much learning that happens there, and there's only so many ways for you to get experience there. And I think the easiest place to practice that would be like a 5K or maybe a 10K, but a 10K we could be doing damage. I think with a 5K you won't have as much damage, so that's something that you can recover from within a day or 2. So I think I'm gonna do more 5Ks coming up. Maybe during the training block, maybe afterward. I'll see if I can work it into the training block just to get practice, but we'll see. But yeah, we did it. Goal race pace for 2:30 is 11:26 per mile. And during the 6 miles that I did today, my average pace was 11:25. Though I exploded, though I was dehydrated, we got it done. We did it, and I'm so grateful. What a learning experience. What a moment. Thank you guys so much for listening to me yap. This isn't the most coherent. I'll be honest, I gotta start recording these before my long run, because after I do the long run, I'm wiped out. Friday night, I've been working all week, I'm wiped out. So just finding a good time during the week to record these is something I'm gonna work on, and I don't want to miss a week, so this one's like a day late. Maybe this will even get out on Monday, I'm not sure. But I just, if I'm gonna do this for the next 6 weeks, 5 weeks left, I want to do it right. But yeah, next week is a deload week. I'm so excited. It's a deload week, but it's still kind of stressful. We got a workout on Monday that I'm not ready for. The workout's only 3.3 miles, so not very long, so not that bad. Then we have a workout on Wednesday, and then I think an easy run on Friday, and I'm gonna be heading to the trails on Saturday just to enjoy the spring coming in and just have a good time. I'm really excited to run on this new shoe I got, the Rad UFO. So hyped, can't wait. Yeah, just thank you guys for watching. Have a good weekend. Shout out to Joanna for his 2:30 marathon. I believe he's gonna run sub 2:30 this year, as long as circumstances come together and he's healthy and everything works out. he's gonna do it. He's gonna crush it. So shout out to him, man. He even used the shoes that I sent him for the race that he got 2:30 in. So it's like, that feels special to me. It's like, you know, I had a little bit of a hand in it. Not that I, you know, did anything other than give him a shoe, but it feels good that I sent him a shoe that he liked enough to take for a marathon. So it's like, that's awesome. But yeah, much love, y'all. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay active, recover well, rest well. Have a good week, y'all. Bye. Peace. I love you guys.